Welcome everybody to What's the 411? This is the place that brings you news, observation, interpretation, and news commentary. Let's get it. Welcome everybody back to What's the 411 / WT4 News. And as more information comes in regarding the Buffalo shooting in Buffalo, New York, where all those black people were shot and killed, there seems to be some more information coming in. And that information is of a retired federal agent may have had early intel about the Buffalo shooting. All right, so with that being said, let's check out this video clip.
Did a retired federal agent have a half hour's notice of the plan to shoot up the Tops Market on Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo and do nothing to stop it?
That is what law enforcement is investigating, according to an article published last night by the Buffalo News.
That the investigation would involve looking into what others may or may not have known prior to the attack should surprise no one. In its last public comments on the case more than a week ago, the FBI indicated that it would.
Cases are moving forward at a rapid clip, and we're trying to do the analysis and everything that needs to be done, collecting the interviews.
And they said that would include those who accused gunman Payton Gendron may have been communicating with prior to the attack.
There are information and data to be gathered from social media and other internet companies.
Now, the Buffalo News, citing unnamed sources close to the investigation, reports that the FBI is looking at least 6 individuals who regularly communicated with Gendron in an online chat room and whom he invited to read about his plans a half hour before he attacked. And that included among them was a former federal agent. What its sources could not provide was the name of the individual, what federal agency they once worked for, or even if they accepted the invitation to read about the plan and watch it unfold. Thus, whether they or anyone else could be charged remains uncertain, although, even if they aren't, Belongia explained it's still important to find out all they can in terms of what led up to what happened here.
A lot of what goes into these investigations is not just stuff you're going to hear in the court proceedings sometime in the future. A lot of it is understanding the perpetrator of these crimes, understanding their history, understanding their mindset, and really telling that full story.
All right, so we're going to look a little bit deeper into this. You got a quick, brief synopsis of this situation. We're going to dig a little bit deeper. All right. So again, the retired federal agent may have known about Buffalo supermarket shooters' plan ahead of the massacre. And my question is, so why didn't he go and let people know, notify the local police, or had the local police know, or what was really going on with that? And there's some things that I could say maybe on the flip side. Maybe I'll bring it up later, maybe not. All right. Also involved in this that may have known is possibly as many as 15 other people that may have known about this. And the way it's looking like right now, nobody said anything. All right. So let's take a look. A retired federal agent who was a member of Buffalo supermarket shooters' private race hate forum may have known in advance of the massacre, but failed to report it as cops investigate a user called Sandman. All right. There's somebody on the internet called themselves Sandman who tutored killer on the guns. All right. And now that I'm reading that, let me say this as well. We did a story on Aaron Salter Jr. in regards to him having an invention, and then of course he got killed. He was the security guard at the Top supermarket. He was a former Buffalo, New York police officer, and he had an invention that he had created called which was a water powered engine. And going into that news clip or that news story, you can go and check out that video on What's the 411 News. And I spoke about that, and the possibility of this really being a 2-for-1 type of deal, if you will. Like, they wanted to get rid of this guy coming up with this invention because the oil companies could possibly go out of business if this invention came out and people just started using water powered engines instead of gas powered. That could put out a lot of gas companies, right? And there's been a history of people who are inventors, people with patents to things, and if it was something that was going to be to the better good of the people worldwide or maybe a countrywide, and there's people out there who don't want that. They want all the power, they want all the money for themselves, and they can care less about how healthy somebody is, or if something improves something for a bunch of people. Maybe it helps the climate at the same time. Maybe the invention done several things at once: help people, improve the climate, give you more bang for your buck when you're driving and stuff like that. So it was really highly suspect that this just, it was of course we got a white supremacist, but at the same time we want to get this guy knocked off out of here as well, so he doesn't come out with this invention. And in this article here, saying that it was possible that this internet name called Sandman could be the retired federal agent who was tutoring the killer on guns. What else could he have been tutoring him about? You know, you don't know, and you don't know what type of knowledge federal agents have on how to take people out and stuff like that, right? Okay. A retired federal agent may have been aware of the Buffalo mass shooting plot. Sources say Payton Gendron, 18, shared his plot with the agent before his attack. He invited at least 6 people to a Discord group to review his plans 30 minutes before. The FBI confirmed none of the individuals alerted authorities about his plan. All right. It's unclear if the agent in question viewed the message before the massacre. Gendron killed 10 people when he opened fire at a Buffalo grocery store on May 14th. He has been charged with murder and could face federal terror charges. Still hadn't faced any type of hate crime, federal charge, terrorist charge, nothing. Just murder. It's ridiculous. Investigators are working to determine if anyone had prior knowledge of the mass shooting and if they should be charged as accomplices. Now, it's always a big if all of a sudden. I bet you any other type of shooting, if it was a black person doing the shooting, anybody they can remotely link to the black person shooting, you know, they all gonna catch a RICO. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, investigators believe a retired federal agent may have been privy to the Buffalo supermarket shooter's plot more than 30 minutes before he opened fire in the grocery store and killed 10 people. I think it was 11 that got killed, if I'm not mistaken. The former agent, believed to be from Texas, was one of 6 who regularly communicated with accused murderer Payton Gendron, 18 years old, in an online racist hate forum. And that forum probably was 4chan or 8chan or maybe Reddit, or there's probably a whole host of other racist forums out there. So the ones that people talk about a lot is 4chan and 8chan. So you guys want to know more about these racist forum sites, go to type in your Google 4, the number 4, and then Chan, CHAN, or the number 8 and then CHAN, and see what pops up. All right. He has not been named, and further, being the federal agent, has not been named, and further details of exact agency he worked for have not been shared. But the agent and Gendron's other online friends would regularly chat online about their hatred of Jews and non-whites. All right. Sources allege that Gendron shared his mass shooting plans and details about the target locations about half an hour before he attacked the upstate New York supermarket on May 14th. It is not clear if the agent accepted Gendron's invitation. They already getting the narrative set up, right? It is not clear. We don't know. He's under investigation. We don't know if he answered the invitation, right? So it is not clear if the agent accepted Gendron's invitation to review his plans or if the individual even read them. All right. Setting it up, setting the narrative, getting it fixed up for you. All right. However, I think some information came out. Now they're trying to do some cleaning. But anyway, however, officials have confirmed that none of the 6 invitees contacted authorities to warn them about the shooting, which the FBI has called a racially motivated act of violent extremism. Imagine that. The FBI is also trying to unmask the true identity of the individual Gendron referred to as Sandman and Saint Sandman. Code words, and more code words. All right. In his online diaries published on Discord, a social media, well, I guess Discord might have been the other one that he communicated with a bunch of other white supremacists. A social media platform that allows users to communicate through private servers. The gunman's post, now I guess apparently it wasn't that private. They're able to pull it up. The gunman's post suggests Sandman counseled him on weaponry before the massacre. And again, like I said, if he counseled him about weapons, he counseled him about having that, make sure you take out Aaron Salter Jr. So this man doesn't come out with a invention that'll take out all these oil gas companies. Okay. All right. Anyway, Gendron, who carried out the attack with an AR-15 style rifle while cloaked in body armor, has been charged with murder and is being held without bail. The shooting is being investigated as a hate crime, and the teen, I say the adult, grown man, still be hit with additional charges. All right. Investigators believe a retired federal agent may have been privy to Payton Gendron's mass shooting plot more than 30 minutes. Probably was more than several days, if you ask me. All right. The former agent, believed to be from Texas, looks like it's more a repeat, was one of 6 people who regularly communicated with Gendron in an online racist forum. People are pictured hugging here outside of the grocery store the day after the shooting. Law enforcement sources allege the FBI is in the process of locating and interviewing the 6 people, including a former agent who may have had prior knowledge about the fatal attack. The agency's probe hopes to determine if any of the 6 could be charged as accomplices to Gendron. Now, I hope they don't, if they find them and end up charging them, that lessens what they do to Gendron. You know, that's another thing, another angle to look at. What is especially upsetting is that these 6 people received advance notice. Now they're saying this now, right? These 6 people received advance notice of the Buffalo shooting about 30 minutes before it happened. All right. According to some insiders, the FBI has verified that none of these people called law enforcement to warn them about the shooting. The FBI database shows no advance tips from anyone that this shooting was about to happen. The officials added these were like-minded people, just like I mentioned in a few of my other news stories here, that there are sleeper cells and they'll let off one after the other. Okay. So the officials are adding that these were like-minded people who used this chat group to talk about their shared interest in racial hatred. So they stay sharing their interest in racial hatred. Guess what can happen next? They can take out shared actions of their racial hatred, right? Replacement theory and hatred of anyone who is Jewish, a person of color, that means black. Don't let the person of color trickery word fool you. That means black, person of color, or not of European ancestry, black. All right. Sources allege Gendron shared his mass shooting plans and details about the target location about half an hour before he attacked the upstate New York supermarket on May 14th. Pictured is Gendron's hand-drawn map of the supermarket posted to Discord ahead of the attack. Now, I just did a story about the Levi Braggs dude. You can take a look at that and how the lady there, the black lady, I think that owns that spa, said he was going in and out of the different rooms. Why? So you can take a mental note and then go back and draw up you a map as well. All right. Keep your eyes on that one. A photo posted to Gendron's online diary shows supplies he gathered prior to the shooting. It remains unclear exactly how many people may have had prior knowledge about the attack. The law enforcement sources allege 6 people are under federal or FBI investigation after Gendron invited them to renew the plan. But just last week, 15 people had accepted his invitation to a private Discord group where he posted the plans and later live stream his killings. That's why I said earlier that it might be as many as 15 people who had knowledge about this. They could all be of the same racial stock as Gendron, even the federal agent. And like we have said, or I've said, you may have heard before from others, the FBI themselves had a report in like 2006 saying there were white supremacists infiltrating law enforcement. But we all know that they're not only in law enforcement, they could be in federal law enforcement. We all know that they could be in this very highly suspected that there are judges in the courts, i.e. Kyle Rittenhouse, the judge for them, and many others. Also, you got judges, you got lawyers. It's looking like some feds might be white supremacists. So the FBI reported all this, but apparently nobody cleaned it up because now we're getting the remnants of all of that. All right, so keep all of that in mind. There's possibly 15 other people that might have known about what Gendron did, and nobody said anything. All right. Excuse me. 2 other people familiar with the FBI investigation also told, officials are investigating Gendron's relationship to the former federal agent. Those sources claim the federal agency is probing whether the retired agent provided Gendron with any information before he went on his killing spree. None of the insiders disclosed the agent's name or confirmed what federal agency he previously worked for. All we know right now, ladies and gentlemen, he went by the name possibly of like the online username of Sandman or Saint Sandman. Okay. Let me see. Members of the FBI, Buffalo Police Department collecting evidence. Okay. At the tops. But before the massacre, Gendron detailed and photographed the areas he believed he was going to park his car during the shooting. All right. The image was included in his Discord diary. Okay. So pay attention to all this outside of this, me reporting this news, because you never know when you have another fool doing the same thing. And you just don't want to be noticing this stuff and then shrugging your head like, oh, well, he's just hanging out. Like I said, the report I just did a little while ago today on the Levi Braggs dude who went into that black-owned spa and the lady told him to leave and he went in all the different rooms. You know, who's to say this guy is the next one planning something? And he was said to be a locksmith as well. So who knows if he goes in and breaks in this lady's business at night because he's a locksmith and then waits for everybody to come in the next day and starts blasting everybody. All right. So we're going to keep our eyes on that story as well as this one. Gendron also posted an image of the gun he used in the attack. He wrote vulgar words, including the names of other white supremacists on it. All right. The FBI is also trying to determine the true identity of Sandman, who Gendron seemingly praises in his online diaries. The 18-year-old Accused killer claims Sandman offered insight about AR-15 manufacturers and product quality before he purchased the gun used in the shooting. Gendron, who referenced Sandman 3 times in his writings, allegedly quoted the individual in a post he made on May the 2nd. When the time finally comes to deal decisively with a whole host of society's problems and not go to prison for it, you'll know. Just be ready. You have spent your entire life from the day you were born right up to his very moment, or this very moment, reading this sentence, coming to where you are right now, Sandman allegedly told Gendron. Look around you. Are you content with where you are right now? Are you where you want to be? If so, continue to march. If not, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Get and keep your mind, body, and spirit right. Pray, lift, run, read, shoot, and teach your kids to do those things. Like I told you, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to apparently always be some type of sleeper cells, these type of white supremacists, dormant American sleeper cells, and they pop up every so often and start striking soft targets. All right. I'm just letting you know. The FBI is also trying to unmask the true identity of the individual Gendron, referred to as Sandman and Saint Sandman, in his online diaries published on Discord. Shortly before the attack, Gendron posted hundreds of pages of writings online detailing his plans for the assault and his racist motivation. The diary said Gendron planned his attack in secret with no outside help. I doubt that highly. But Discord has since confirmed that an invitation to access his private writings was sent to a small group of people about 30 minutes before the assault began. Officials have confirmed that some of them accepted the invitation, but did not clarify as to how many read what Gendron had written or logged on to view his assault in real time. Investigators are continuing their work to obtain, verify, and review Gendron's online postings and have been examining all of his documents. Meanwhile, attorneys familiar with the case say it is not surprising an ex-law enforcement agent may have been involved. As outrageous as this may sound, based upon what we are finding in our investigation, it is not surprising, Attorney Terrence Connors, who represents several of the victims' family members, told the news. The lawyer declined to provide details about the investigation or found evidence. So apparently the lawyers have some intel as well. Got a comment here. Let's check it out, see what they're saying here. Okay, I'm not going to post that. That's not making any sense to what we're talking about. All right. Let me put it up just in case, though. It looks like it has nothing to do with nothing. So, if something crazy happens, y'all can look up this iron quantity or quantit. Okay. So there we go with that. Anyway, let's move on. Buffalo, let me see. The lawyer declined to provide details about the investigation or found evidence. Buffalo civil rights attorney John Elmore, who represents the family of victim Andre McNeil, pointed out that former agent had a duty to report the shooting as soon as he was made aware of it. If he had advance notice, he had a moral obligation, now, they didn't say nothing about a legal one, a moral obligation to get on the phone and try to notify someone about it, Elmore explained. Okay. Gendron, sporting the orange prison fatigues and a white face mask, appeared in Buffalo court last week for his pretrial felony hearing. The self-declared white supremacist, who also faces federal terror charges, remained silent throughout the proceeding, despite being heckled by a victim's distraught family member who yelled out, "Payton, you're a coward." A first-degree murder indictment, which covers all 10 deaths, was handed up on May 18th. Assistant District Attorney Gary Hack-Bush announced in court May 19th. And New York prosecutors can charge a defendant with first-degree murder only under special circumstances. That's kind of weird. In New York, prosecutors can charge a defendant with first-degree murder only under special circumstances, including when multiple people are killed in a single incident, like in the Buffalo shooting that claimed the lives of 10 people. The single count against Gendron covers all 10 deaths at Tops Friendly Market. No domestic terror charges have been filed in federal court at this time. Gendron will be back in court on June the 9th. He is being held without bail. The courtroom remained quiet until the end of Gendron, as Gendron, cuffed and shackled, was escorted out by a heavy security detail, only the sounds of his chains clinking when one of the victim's family members yelled out angrily at him from the courtroom galley. Let's see, 13 people were struck. Let's kind of go back over what happened. 13 people were struck by gunfire at the supermarket on Saturday, most of them black, and 10 of the victims died before the gunman surrendered to police, confronting him out inside the store. Gendron has pleaded not guilty to the single count of first-degree murder. The victims of the racially motivated Buffalo supermarket shooting. All right, and it kind of goes into some more about that. They talk about Aaron Salter. Salter is a retired Buffalo police officer who worked as a security guard at the supermarket. He was fatally shot after confronting accused shooter Payton Gendron inside the store. And Aaron Salter also came up with an invention of a water-powered engine for vehicles. Okay. And so they're just going down the line of those who were killed. You have Aaron Salter. I think this is Ruth Whitfield. This is Karen Massey, I believe. I believe it's Pearlie Young. All these old folks, man, a bunch of suckers, cowards, man. Celestine Shaney and Roberta Drury. She looks to be mixed. Hayward Patterson, Geraldine Talley, Andre McNeil. I think the lawyer in this article is representing his family. And you got Marcus Morrison. And yeah, that's it, man. And so we will be keeping our eye out on this one and finding out some more details in regards to this situation here, where an apparent retired federal agent, like, just kind of weird, because when did he retire? Did he retire just after this incident, or just before he got the information that this was going to happen? Throw in your retirement papers, because it's suggesting that the way this kind of reads is like he knew this while he was still working for whatever federal agency he was working with or for, right? So it's kind of weird how everything is kind of coming up now, and then they saying this guy is now retired, and they're making it look like he wasn't retired when this went down, or maybe he was retired and he got into meeting this Gendron. And if he didn't report anything, like I said, there's the FBI made a report of white supremacists in law enforcement. And it's not just local law enforcement. You got some judges right now that are white supremacists or suspected white supremacists right now. When you go to court, you could be standing in front of a white supremacist, a suspected white supremacist judge. Apparently some federal agents are on that side of the tracks. And of course, FBI reported that local law enforcement, police departments across this country have those types in there. But nobody did anything to try to remove them, or very little, because now everything is starting to blow up now, and been blowing up for several years. And so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for coming in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. All right. Share this video. Tell people about this news story. And we definitely will keep an eye on this situation. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is What's the 411 News, and we are out of here. Peace. Welcome, everybody, to What's the 411? This is the place that brings you news, observation, interpretation, and news commentary. Let's get it.